Hello, campers, and welcome back to Camp Legend. My name is Mark, and you are here for coffee and card games. Doing my best not to slurp that really hot coffee in here. Anyway, today we're going to be looking once again at Star Wars Unlimited, and with all of the cards revealed, and you maybe this week going out and getting your first packs and cracking them. I want to go over each of the leaders in this video and what those leaders do. So you can take a look for what leaders you might be looking for. Now, full and total transparency here, I haven't actually played much of this game yet, as very few people have actually played much of this game. So a lot of this review is just going to be my hot takes on the various leaders, including taking a look at each of their artworks. So with no further ado, let's jump right into the video, taking a look at all of the various leaders in the game. We'll take first at the there's actually 5 blue leaders that we're going to take a look at. There are 5 blue leaders, there are 4 green leaders, there are 5 red leaders, and there are 4 yellow leaders. So let's take a look at each one of them. We're going to take a look first at their card, then their card art, and then we're going to talk a little bit about them. So the first one we have is Director Krennic. Director Krennic says that each damaged friendly unit, each friendly damaged unit gets +1/+0. So this guy's looking for people with pretty high life. As an epic action, once you have 5 resources, you can deploy him as Director Krennic right here. Whenever you have him deployed, he is a 2 attack, 7 health that has Restore 2, and this unit attacks heal your base for 2 damage, and each friendly unit gets +1/+0. If you want to take a quick look at his variants, here he is in hyperspace, so getting rid of that backdrop, getting rid of that border looks really good. Extending that artwork is beautiful. And then let's take a look at the showcase variant of him. Sort of a contemplative Krennic here. He's got that sort of comic booky black outline around him. Truthfully, I really like this artwork. I'm not really sure what's going on with his eyes entirely, but I think this is a really beautiful card. I don't think it's the best showcase that they have, but I do think it's really nice artwork. I don't know. I think I like it more than this. He just looks so young in this. I think that he looks much better in the showcase artwork. Okay, Villainy and Vigilance are his 2, so black and blue are his 2, factions that he has. I'm not super impressed by Krennic. Damaged units get a +1/+0. I don't know how much that's going to matter in the game, but I can't imagine it's going to matter that much. Once you can deploy him only being a 2 attack on turn 5 just means he's probably going to get obliterated by stuff, even if he takes damage. Let's say he takes on turn 5, pretty easy for him to probably take like 4 points of damage. What's he going to be then? A 3/3? It might take 2 things to remove him, but that thing that's hitting for 5 is very likely not dying to 2 damage. And then maybe you can clean him up with like a 3/2 or something. I'm not super impressed by him. Perhaps his ability is a little bit stronger than I think. I know there are some Imperial cards with some pretty big butts on them, some pretty big bodies on them. So maybe that 1 attack does make the difference and push it over. But I'm not, the first one we're looking at really, but I'm not super impressed by it. Okay, let's move on to the next blue leader, Iden Versio, and this is one that I'm particularly really excited about. So Iden's basic is she actually has an action you can take. I think that's really cool. I think that helps with the economy, passing back and forth with grabbing initiative, because it gives you something else that you can do. Whereas, for example, Krennic didn't have that. It's this: if an enemy unit was defeated this phase, heal 1 damage from your base. So if you're eliminating stuff, you're healing your base. You can take that as an action. I think that's kind of cool. She wants to be doing that. When she gets to 6, you can deploy her. When you do deploy her, and we're going to take a look at her back here, she gets shielded. So she's a 6 mana 4/4. She's a little understated on turn 6, but she does come down with a shield that's going to absorb the first instance of damage that she gets hit with. At this point of the game, probably by turn 6, your opponent has the ability to ping that shield off, unfortunately, but still not that bad. And then she reads, when an enemy unit is defeated, heal 1 damage from your base. She doesn't have to do that as an action, so you can just kind of sit back in the lane, start healing your base if you have the right time to sort of pop her out. Keep in mind, you don't have to pay the 6 mana to release your leader. You just need to get to the point in the game that you have those resources available. I'm saying, man, I know the resources to be able to deploy her. Not terrible. Let's take a look at her variants. Of course, the borderless is just beautiful. I think that her artwork is really beautiful. Really enjoy that. Let's take a look at her showcase. More determined, Love sort of like the forest of Endor in the background of this shot. Love this even more, like the action box here is covering stuff. Here you can see the downed ATST. Gorgeous. Really love this artwork. Not my favorite art for a blaster in the world, but love this artwork. I think the showcase is gorgeous. I think that Iden is more usable than Krennic, but because she has an action that she can take, and she can heal your base even when she's not flipped over. She comes down a turn later, but she's a little bit more resilient when she does hit the ground, I think. You know, probably she takes 2 hits on turn 6, but Krennic probably takes 2 hits on turns 5, so yeah, kind of similar. Almost a similar mechanic. Let's go to Chewbacca next. Chewbacca, maybe the worst artwork other than Han Solo. I don't know why they butchered Han Solo and Chewbacca so badly, but it is just awful. Has an action, so, you know, exhaust him. Play a unit cost 3 or less from your hand, paying its cost, and then it gains Sentinel for this phase. So allows you to drop something down. Sentinel's basically taunt from other card games. And so just prevents, in an attacker-friendly game, prevents your base from getting attacked. Cool defensive card for sure. Then you do have to get to 7 for him to be able to flip him. But once you get to 7, you can flip him over. And when you flip him over, he becomes a 2/9. So for 2 more turns from Krennic, you can flip him. He has a similarity to Krennic too. 2 more turns away from Krennic, you could flip him and get 2 more health. But in addition to that, you get Sentinel rather than restoring your base to health on attack, which seems better to me, allowing you to defend your base in a lane, you know, later in the game. He also gets Grit and a +1 attack for each damage on it. So, you know, if you hit him in a 2 phase, which is turn 7, you're probably still going to need to 2 phase him at 9 health. Maybe you hit him for 6. He's going to get 6 attack. So when he retaliates the next time that you try to eliminate him in the ground lane, he is going to probably take something out. So maybe not with that first one. You get that 6 attack in, maybe with a 6/6 or a 6/5, something like that. Then on the second round, man, you're coming back at him. He's going to have 8 attack. He's really going to knock something out. And if you can't knock him out, and you have to attack into him because he has Sentinel, I really like that. I think he's quite good, actually. I think this Chewbacca card is quite good. I like this. Ooh, that got weird looking. There we go. I think that this Chewbacca is a lot better than the Krennic. I like him a lot more, even though he does flip 2 turns later. He's a little bit more expensive, maybe too expensive. Let's take a look at the full art variant. The hyperspace here, I hate it. There is Han in the background, which I didn't really recognize. Like, if you go to the original card, Han's just, like, fully cut off, except in this shot. But in the hyperspace, you can actually see Han in the background a little bit. And you can see him pretty clearly here. Fine. I don't love it, though. I don't love it. Let's look at the... Now, the showcase variant is great. Look at that. The showcase variant, you get Han clearly in it. You kind of get them going through the halls of the Death Star here vibe. I think the showcase is not bad. I think it's pretty nice. It's not amazing. It's still very animated. It's still stylized, but it's nice. You get the full stance of Chewbacca here on the flipped card, too. Obviously, this is much better than, say, this, whatever this very hideous, awful version. I will say this, though. I do wish that he didn't have a... Well, no, that is the bowcaster. That he has the bowcaster. I thought he was just holding a blaster here, but he does have the bowcaster. Chewbacca, ladies and gentlemen. I dig him. The fourth. I'm gonna absolutely butcher this name, so I'm not going to. But I believe this is the guy that has like the untrained force abilities from Rogue One. His action is you can exhaust him, which is great. So he does have a usable action. I think that's fun for the action economy. It says give a unit +0/+2 for this phase. So very defensive card once again. And then once he has 5, you have 5 resources. You can flip him to his variant side, where he comes in as a 5-mana 3/5, pretty weak on 5, but hey, during the action phase, this unit isn't defeated, having no remaining HP. So, you know, he can go in and not be defeated, even though he gets knocked out, which is pretty cool. So you can put him out there, he gets knocked out, he can still get that attack in, even though your opponent eliminated, you know, you can put 20 damage on him this round. He's not just going to get knocked out, he's going to get knocked out in the regrouping phase of the game, whenever you're going to, you know, draw up, add new resources to the board, that sort of thing. pretty cool. Pretty cool character. You are going to get value out of him. I think that's something that's important, and you're going to get value out of him a little bit earlier. I think he's kind of unique. I think he's kind of unique in the space. I think he might be one of the better cards, honestly. I think he might be one of the better leaders in blue. I honestly think that Chewbacca and our boy here are probably the best in blue if you're going to play blue. I like this, giving a unit +0/+2 for this phase, especially early game, an extra 2 health to keep that board trading well, I think is very powerful. Let's look at the variants. The hyperspace variant looks good. It's not amazing, but it looks good. It looks much better than the original, of course, with the border. And let's look at the showcase variant. I like that his weapon is showcased here a lot, honestly. His face is hella boxy. I mean, it is so boxy. But I don't hate this artwork. I like the palm trees in the background too. I think the palm trees are a nice touch. Gives a little bit more in the backdrop. Kind of looks like an explosion of sand coming out behind him, like like an Imperial AT-AT just like shot a laser there right behind him. You kind of see the sand blowing up behind him. I kind of like that. I like getting more of his robe. I'm gonna like probably all the showcases more than the base artwork for the most part, and that's true of this one as well. This isn't bad. This isn't bad, but it's not great. And this might be one of my least favorite arts of the base arts, other than Chewbacca and Han Solo. Moving on, let's talk green heroes really quick. So in our green heroes, we're going to start off with Emperor Palpatine. He has an action, pay 1, defeat a friendly unit to deal 1 damage to a unit and draw a card. Really quite interesting. You want to put up little guys he wants to sacrifice and sap the health of the Empire. I think that's very thematic. In order to then, electrocute someone on the other side of the board. I'll make sacrifices of the Empire to be able to defeat my opponents. There's no cost too high type of a vibe. He doesn't flip until 8, though. And when he flips, he has this. When deployed, take control of a damaged non-leader unit. So you can actually drop him and go take something. And he has a 4/10, which is a lot of health. Even on 8, not a lot of attack, but a lot of health. So allows you to go commandeer something. So you get a little bit of damage off, here, damage something, and then on turn 8, swing him out and go take one of your opponent's stuff. Pretty good. On attack, you may defeat another friendly unit if you do deal 1 to a unit and draw a card. So when you attack, you can defeat another friendly unit. Pretty cool. I think the Palpatine's extremely strong. This is a really interesting mechanic. I think that it's super thematic. I like his artwork. Let's take a look really quick at the hyperspace variant of him. The hyperspace looks beautiful. Just him sitting in the chair. This is gorgeous. This hyperspace variant is gorgeous. I think the Palpatine's great, actually. Let's take a look at this. Oh my gosh. That showcase is stunning. I've never been a big Palpatine fan, just to be honest with you. Know a lot of people that are. I've never been a huge Palpatine fan, but that showcase is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. I think I want to play a Palpatine deck. I'm not even a huge Palpatine fan, but I could definitely see myself playing like a green-yellow villainy deck with Palpatine. Love it. Let's go to Tarkin. Tarkin has a usable ability as well, which is great. Uses 1 mana or 1 resource for it. Okay. Give it experience to an Imperial unit. You have an Imperial unit out there. An experience is going to give them +1/+1. Let you fight for board early on. I like that. Once you're at 5, you can flip him. When we flip him, he is a 2/7. A lot of the leaders seem to be like that. Big health pulls, low attack. Give an experience. On attack, you give an experience icon to another unit. So as long as you're attacking, you're going to be giving out that experience icon. You're probably not removing anything with them. You're probably just sort of like ticking away at the base with Tarkin and allowing that to get buffed up. Maybe you put him in a lane, in the ground lane when you have a Sentinel unit over there to kind of defend him. They have to go through the Sentinel unit before they can get to your Tarkin. I actually think Tarkin's pretty good. Oh, I wasn't going to show that yet. Let's look at the hyperspace first. Hyperspace looks gorgeous, honestly. Like this flipped version with the ships in the background. If you look at the original, right, you kind of get the ships in there, but man, the hyperspace variant really gives you more of that artwork that you're getting cut off on either side. I think that's gorgeous. Let's take a look now at the... I'm not super impressed by this. This guy looks like main character from Gran Torino, honestly. Just looks like Gran Torino in space here. Man, it's just kind of plain. to be honest with you, this might be the first one that I actually might prefer this hyperspace variant over this. He has a lot more flesh color. He's super, he's like a zombie in this, right? There he actually looks like a human. Here he just kind of looks like a zombie. It's white, super white skinned, super pale. So I like that. I like his complexion, but man, it's like his shoulder just disappears into nothingness in this shot. Yeah, not super impressed by the showcase here. Hera, maybe one of my favorite characters in Star Wars. Super pumped about this. Her ability is just ignore the Spectre penalty on Spectre cards that you play. So here's the thing. She has no real ability, right? No real ability. And she flips on 6. But she lets you play all of the Spectre cards. So those Spectre cards are going to be like Kanan and Jarrus. Kanan Jarrus. This is going to be like, Sabine and all of the characters from Rebels. And that's super fun. And the ship. And their ship. So this allows you to really be unlimited, right? When you flip her, that's not what I wanted to do. When you flip her, she becomes a 4/6. You still ignore the penalty, and then on attack, you give an experience token to another unique unit, which is these units with like the little star. I think there's a limit on, you can't have, 2 Kanan Jarruses out at the same time. I think you can still have 3 in your deck, you just can't have 2 out at the same time. Okay, yeah. I like Hera if the Spectre units are good enough to make like a good Spectres deck. And if it is, I'm a huge fan of it. Let's look at the hyperspace variant. Hera is really cool looking. It's just her kind of driving the ship, right? Okay. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Obviously, the hyperspace looks better than the normal, but the artwork in the base is okay. It's not amazing. I did get one of these in one of my Spark of Rebellion pre-release boxes, so I'm going to be trying her. Now, the showcase variant though is unbelievably cool. Like, it's just absolutely beautiful. You get the full shot of some of the ship in the backdrop. I think Hera's face is just much cooler, more animated. Man, beautiful. This is a showcase that I 100% want. I actually like this side of the showcase. It gives you more of the backdrop of the ship than I like the vertical, like the horizontal a little bit more. But man, is it beautiful. I think that this is 10 out of 10. Maybe one of my favorite pieces of artwork in the game. Love it. Let's move on to Leia. Leia is the last green heroism. Her ability is action, attack. She taps attack with a rebel unit. Then you may attack with another rebel unit. So this is going to allow you in one turn, if you have 2 rebels on the board, to get in 2 attacks with 1 action. That's what this is doing. This is not allowing you to attack with an exhausted unit. You still have to be able to attack with a unit that isn't exhausted. But instead of attacking, passing, you can just attack with 2 at once using her ability. You're going to be basically taking up 3 of your actions. It's going to speed you towards being able to take the initiative counter for next round because you're taking her action plus 2 other actions in 1 round. I like that. It plays for an aggressive look. Let's flip her to her back. That's not it. There it is. She gets raid 1, so this unit gets +1/+0 while attacking. So when she attacks, she's going to be a 4/6. She's a 5 mana 3/6, which is pretty beefy for lower attack, but pretty beefy for what we've seen evidenced in the other leaders, I think. Especially because when she's attacking, she is getting that +1. And when this unit completes an attack, you may attack with another rebel unit, so you're still getting that double attack. You're only using 2 actions per attack, and then you're attacking with a rebel unit. I think that's really interesting. And I think this can cross into space, so you could attack with Leia in the ground and then attack with one of your space, an X-Wing or something. She flips on 5. Let's take a look at her variants. Let's take a look at her hyperspace variant. Beautiful. Not a lot going on in the background, but it is a beautiful card. I think that Leia is one of the better base cards. Let's take a look at the showcase variant. This is one of the first ones that they showed. Once again, we're kind of getting into what Krennic was, right? Krennic had this sort of like almost, it's not really animated, comic booky sort of black outline on everything, but gorgeous. Leia looks very good in this shot. Determined. I think the only thing that I'm disappointed in is in some of the other showcases, it really changed their environment. And if you look, she's in the same exact environment, really. The blue lines and stuff. And then if you look here, still same exact room. iconic for Leia, but it's the only thing that disappoints me a little bit. I wouldn't have mind, seeing Leia on Endor or something. I think could have been really cool versus just seeing her in sort of the command center. But yeah, Leia. Okay, we're moving on to red heroes here. Vader, first one. Action, pay 1, tap him. If you played a villainy card this phase, deal 1 damage to a unit and 1 damage to a base. Gives you a ping if you're playing villainy. On 7, he's going to flip. He's going to flip to a 5/8 on 7, which is really powerful. The highest attack that we've seen so far, I think, of any of the leaders. Really like that. On attack, you may deal 2 damage to a unit. Vader just seems, honestly, brutishly strong. Not super synergistic with other stuff, but just very good, right? You want to play villainy cards with him, you're going to be playing villainy cards with him anyway. If you play villainy cards, have that extra mana, you can flip him. His artwork's very basic. It's very basic, but let's take a look at the hyperspace version. Oh, this says it's the event exclusive. Hang on. Pre-release. So this is the pre-release promo. This says it's the event exclusive. I wonder if you can only get this card in the 2-player box. That might be the case. You might only be able to get this in the 2-player box. I'm not sure. Because it does say, or maybe this is the one that you get in the 2-player box, and then this you get by going to an event of some type. And you know what? I don't even see a showcase here. Showcase option for him. I wonder if he doesn't have a showcase option. Or at least it's not on the website. So you want to, this is pretty easy to pick up. You get this pre-release promo by grabbing this box, this pre-release box. So, oops, right here. Right here. Spark of Rebellion pre-release box. Vader. Strong. I think he's super strong. Nope, not there yet. We're going to be moving on to the Grand Inquisitor. This is action. Deal 2 damage to a friendly unit with 3 or less power and ready it. So this allows you to just damage one of your units. A lot of times you're going to kill it, But if you're not going to kill it, you're going to damage it and get it ready to go. Very Inquisitor style, though. The whip and the lash, right? 2 damage to a friendly unit with 3 or less power and then ready it. It's pretty limited. How many units are you going to have that can live through the 2 damage you're going to deal to it and have 3 or less attack? Probably not a ton. Maybe some. There's some big bodies in this game. I think he's interesting. Obviously sort of an aggressive strategy, right? You want to take the little guys and make more attacks with them. Then he flips at 3 for a 3/6. Pretty standard there. As we've seen with the other ones, not super powerful. On attack, you may deal 1 damage to another friendly unit with 3 or less power and ready it. So this is just going to let you do it for 1, a little bit cheaper, but you're going to, yeah, you're only do it once either way, but this is only on your attack. Not bad. Let's take a look at the hyperspace. Hyperspace is beautiful. Hyperspace looks great, honestly. Hyperspace looks great on this card. This looks terrible. This might be one of my least favorite arts in Showcase. This might be my least favorite art for Showcases. Honestly, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Don't like that Showcase at all. Looks just bad. I think that the original card, especially the hyperspace variant of the original card, much cooler, much more menacing. Honestly, this is a beautiful card. This is really nice. I really like that. Let's go to IG-88, one of my favorite cards in the game. I think he's one of the worst cards in the game as well. He has an action attack with a unit. If you control more units than the defending player, that attacker gets +1/+0 for this attack. Okay, so if you have more than your opponent does, you're going to get. So he's aggressive, right? Action attack with a unit. So you only get to do this with 1. If you control more units than the defending player, the attacker gets +1/+0 for this attack. So if you're overwhelming your opponent, you can get in an attack with this, and this is just going to give +1/+0. That seems pretty weak. Seems pretty. You should attack with them without the +1/+0. Seems pretty weak. You want to be overwhelming your opponents with this. Gets maybe, a really aggressive strategy. It makes sense. Then it becomes a 5/4, but a 5-mana 5/4 is pretty good. I mean, that's a lot of attack. That's pretty similar to what we were at with Vader, honestly. I mean, pretty heavy attacker, so really aggressively statted here. And then he gets raid. Each other friendly unit gets raid. They attack with +1/+0. Not bad. Honestly, not bad. The variants here, the hyperspace variant, just looks better. It's not amazing, but it just looks better than the original. I love that IG-88 made it as one of the first heroes, by the way. Let's take a look at the showcase. Wow, the showcase is gorgeous. Yeah, it's impressive. I don't know what this swooshy is on his shoulder. What is this? What is this? Swooshiness. I don't know what that is. The background's kind of plain, but you do kind of get him sort of like in a Mos Eisley type of environment or something. Interesting, you know, he got put in before some of the other bounty hunters. People are saying he's not good. I think he could be good for a pretty aggressive villainy, you know, strength strategy. Maybe you play mono red in this and just go ham with him. And on turn 5, you know, your aggressive strategies have a benefit in this game because it's a 2-draw game. I didn't even mention this in one of my previous videos. I think that's a really interesting thing in this game. It kind of gets past some of the Lorcana problems. You draw 2 cards, which I think benefits aggressive strategies. Makes it harder to lose. You know, you get to the 5 that you want to get at, your deck's tapped out, you're not going to do anything else, and then you're just getting 2 cards a turn, and you're never turning anything into resources. Allows you to just keep playing stuff. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, IG-88. Cassian. I picked up a copy of this guy. Pay 1 and exhaust him. If you've dealt 3 or more damage to an enemy base this phase, draw a card. Very strong if you're playing like an aggressive heroism strategy. If you're going to flip him, he flips on 6, and then he has Saboteur. When this unit is attacked, you can ignore Sentinel, and you defeat enemy's shields. So you attack somebody as a 4/6, where 6 is honestly not that bad statted-wise. Like, in comparison to some of the others that we've seen that are like 2/6s and stuff, 4/6 isn't that bad. When you deal damage to an enemy base, you may draw a card. Use of the ability only 1 each time each round. Man, though, if card draw is an issue for red and you want to play a card that's going to be, you know, a deck that's going to get aggressive, which Cassian wants to, and you want to just fuel your hand, dang if that's not good, right? Early in the game, you could be fueling your hand by using your spare energy. You know, the hard thing about aggressive decks, they really want to be maximizing their resource usage early in the game, and this is making you want to, you know, man, get 3 damage in and then use up one of your resources instead of playing another unit and continuing to press the advantage. It makes you want to draw cards. It's still good. It's still good. I think it's interesting. Card draw and aggressive strategies is always sort of interesting to see what type of meta is actually going to develop from it. But in an aggressor's sort of like in a system that prefers the aggressor, the attacker, I think that card draw is very strong. Yeah, dedicated to really like Cassian a lot. Last one for red, Sabine Wren. She has an action here. Use her to deal 1 damage to each base. So pretty aggressive. Oh, you know what? We didn't look at Cassian's variants. Let's go back and look at that really quick. So hyperspace variant. Honestly, beautiful. Honestly, it's just gorgeous. I think it's gorgeous. Let's look at his showcase. Oh, man, though. Look at that. There is so much action. Now, once again, back to sort of the black outline comic booky style, but so much action in this shot. Love this shot. Really, really enjoy this artwork. Like this showcase a lot. I think Cassian's great. I think he's a very good hero. Sabine. Sabine here, deal 1 damage to each base. When you flip her, she flips on 4. She flips really early, but she's only a 2/5. On attack, deal 1 damage to each enemy base. I mean, she gets aggressive. She's definitely an aggressive hero, right? Definitely an aggressive hero. But pretty basic. She flips on 4, though, which is early. She flips on 4, but she flips into a 2/5. It's going to deal 1 in the enemy base. So 3/5 if you're attacking the base. If you're attacking into something, you're still getting a damage on the enemy base. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how good aggressive strategies are. Obviously, red's pretty aggressive here. Our hyperspace variant, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It's not great. It's fine. Her artwork is fine. Let's see her showcase variant here. Maybe. Let's try it again. Oh, that's bad. Oh, man, guys, that's bad. I really wish they would have put on her helmet for this. If this shot was with her helmet, this would be great. To be honest, I'm not impressed by Sabine's artwork in anything. I'm not impressed by any of it. This isn't bad because you can kind of see especially here, you can zoom out and kind of see the graffiti on the wall. But it's not great. Probably the hyperspace of the original art is the best for me. But this is just terrible. This is just awful. Showcase is terrible. Okay, let's do the last faction. We got 4 more to go. Boba Fett. When an enemy unit leaves play, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, ready a resource. Oh, that's pretty good. When an enemy unit leaves play, remove something, exhaust this leader. If you do, ready a resource. Yellow has a lot of sort of like control elements to it. So I really like the idea of like I'm removing, it's like a board control style here with Boba Fett. I like that a lot. On 5, he's going to flip into a 4/7, which is actually probably honestly the best statted that I've seen. 4/7 is very strong on 5, I think. Very good. Says when this unit completes an attack, if an enemy unit left play this phase, ready up to 2 resources. You can actually remove an enemy unit, then make an attack with him onto the base, ready 2 resources, and just keep going. I think that Fett is very strong. I think that Fett is a very, very strong character. I love Boba Fett. I'm super pumped to play Fett here. Let's take a look at his alternate versions. So the back of him looks pretty good. Honestly, that looks good. Or that was the front, this is the back. Honestly, that looks good. I like that. I like that hyperspace. If you can get your hands on this, I think you're happy. You kind of get the shot of Slave 1 in the background. His ship. That's great. Let's take a look at the showcase. Oh, man, though. Oh, the showcase is gorgeous. Oh, this is a track it down. This might be a must-have for me. Can I be honest? This might be a must-have. This showcase is absolutely... I don't know how I'm going to get my hands on it. This is a comment, too. The showcase is stunning. Stunning. Love this leader. I think Fett might be, if not the strongest, probably one of the strongest in combination with some of the other strategies that we saw already. Thrawn. He has a big box. He says this. When the action phase starts, look at the top card of each player's deck. Interesting. Just giving you information. Love that. Action, exhaust him and exhaust 1 resource. Reveal the top card of any player's deck. Exhaust a unit that costs the same as or less than the revealed card. Interesting. If you control 6 or more resources, you can deploy them. So this is a very control-y card. I like Thrawn a lot here. Very control-y. But this is more of like a normal control style than what the Boba Fett style is going to be with Villainy, which I think is going to be more of a board-centric control. Whereas he's going to be like more classic yellow control. Cunning. And his flip side, flips on 6, 3/9, big health pool. Look at the top card of each player's deck. So you get to spy on your card and your opponent. That's just great information. I love that. And then you may reveal the top card of any player's deck, exhaust a unit that costs the same or less than the revealed card. This allows you to actually stack your deck with expensive cards and be able to go exhaust pretty much anything on your opponent's field. I think it slows down your opponent a lot. I like that a lot. Wow, yeah, especially if you have initiative here, you can just exhaust your opponent's biggest threat. They can't use it. You can keep doing that on front or back. Yeah, I like that a lot. If you have initiative, I like that a lot. And the information, I think Thrawn's really strong. I think Thrawn's going to be a menace. Yellow might be the best faction so far. Backdrop, that's gorgeous. The hyperspace is gorgeous. Thrawn's done really well. Let's take a look at his... Ooh, that's not great. Yeah, that's bad. This is much better. This right here, this is much better. This is the best. You want the hyperspace. You actually don't even want this showcase. I get this showcase, I sell it in 1 second and look for the Boba Fett showcase. Instant sell. Don't like this at all. Han. Han, worst artwork in the game? Maybe? Probably. Action, put a card from your hand into play as a resource and ready it. At the start of the next action phase, defeat a resource you control. This allows you to accelerate your resources, but it is also depleting your hand. I can't say I love that. Man, that's a lot of hand depletion. If you need to rush something, though, if you're playing control and you need to rush something, I get it. But this is not an action you're going to want to take every round. This is, a lot of these cards have actions that you want to take advantage of every round. This is a very niche. You don't want to do this every round. You're going to run yourself out of cards so fast if you don't have draw. Flip him at 6, 4/6, not terrible. On attack, put the top card of your deck into play as a resource and ready it at the start of the next action phase to defeat a resource you control. That's great. That's actually great. Actually love that. Hate the flip side of him. I think the flip side of him's tough. Because the flip side of him, you have to do it from your hand, right? From your hand. Ooh, that's tough. You know, you might do this like once on turn 5 to get him to flip. Let's take a look at his hyperspace. Pretty bad. And the showcase, whoa, much better. Inside the Millennium Falcon, showcase is beautiful. He doesn't look a lot like Han in this, to be honest. He looks a little more, I don't know, beefy. But it's beautiful. It is beautiful. This is a beautiful showcase. I quite like the showcase, quite hate this. Hate it passionately. Don't even want to play it because it's horrible. Last one, Jyn, one of my favorites. One of my favorites. Was really excited to open up copies of her. Action, you exhaust her, attack with a unit, and the defender gets -1 for this attack. So another board control, kind of like Fett. And if you control 6 or more, you can flip her. If we flip her, while friendly unit is attacking, the defender always gets -1. Pretty good. Pretty good. Not amazing. She flips on 6 for a 4/7. Okay. Let's look at her variants. This is gorgeous. I have one of these, the Hyperspace variant. I think the Hyperspace variant is beautiful. Let's take a look at the last showcase variant. Ooh, no. Her face is mucked up, guys. What'd they do with her face? Why is the back of her head so big? Nope, this is the best version of this is this right here, in my opinion. Okay, guys, that's all of the leaders. I hope that you enjoyed this. I certainly had a lot of fun taking a look at them. Maybe that gave you some information on what you're excited for. I know for me, Hera, Inspectors, I'm excited for. Even to a certain extent, Chewbacca, the Emperor, and Boba Fett. Probably primarily Boba Fett's going to be the first one that I build a deck off. I love Boba Fett, but I also think mechanically he's very strong. Took a look at all the leaders. Keep tuned to our channel, though, because there's going to be videos coming out. I'm going to be reviewing all of the cards that are in this set, taking a look at commons, uncommons, rares, legendaries for all 4 factions and for sort of like the neutral faction and stuff. So stay tuned to this channel. And to do that, you're going to have to hit like, subscribe, and the bell icon so that other people can find this material as well. Thank you for stopping by today. Thank you for hanging out with me, campers. Be sure to come back for the next video as we take another look at Star Wars Unlimited.